All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. We're talking about the Minnesota Vikings in today's video. Now, I want to talk about OTAs and minicamp towards the middle of this video, but we just heard in a tweet from Kevin Seifert with ESPN that Kevin O'Connell said that Sam Darnold will be the Vikings' #1 quarterback entering training camp, but the first 2 weeks of camp will be competitive for many positions, he said. So obviously nothing is written in stone. And, I would just tell you this. I don't care if JJ McCarthy is the day 1 starter. I don't care if he's the week 4, the week 8 starter due to an injury or just benching Sam Darnold. I don't care if he's the starter for 2025 and beyond. You got your guy, in my opinion. Now, I'm a Green Bay Packers fan, and this Vikings team terrifies me. And, to be honest with you, it's not just offense. They made a variety of defensive moves. First off, they stole Dallas Turner, absolutely stole him in the middle/late round of the draft. You picked up guys like Jonathan Greenard and Blake Cashman. You still got Ivan Pace, who I think is so underrated. Brian Flores in this Vikings defense is, actually really concerning as a Packers fan. But you have your guy, all right? So once again, I actually really like Sam Darnold. I'll talk about this in just a second, but coming from a Packers fan, the Vikings' long-term future is pretty terrifying, all right? The whole NFC North is, to just be quite honest with you. So welcome back to the channel. Obviously, we're talking about the Vikings in today's video. If you guys haven't already, be sure to hit that like button, hit that sub button for daily NFL content. We post, at least one Vikings video a week, looking to ramp these numbers up as the offseason continues to progress. But, it's a really dead part of just sports in general right now. If you try and get this video to 100 likes, I would appreciate that very greatly. So we know, the Vikings coaching staff has been openly and privately cautious about JJ McCarthy, right? According to the Athletic's Alice Lewis, they want to take this slow to help him develop confidence, to allow him to try throws, make mistakes, and learn. Head coach Kevin O'Connell and his staff believe that that's the best path towards long-term success, and everyone is on board. So, we saw this report during OTAs a couple of weeks ago that McCarthy had plenty of moments in this practice that reminded you just how much learning and growth is ahead of him. There were several reps where you could see him going through his progressions, hesitating a bit, and then scrambling or throwing to his checkdown option. The team is working on McCarthy's footwork and reports his accuracy is being affected in a sense. So, I'm a golfer, and, throwing the football seems very similar to just, golfing and grip and technique. JJ McCarthy, they're just trying to nail in the footwork. They're trying to nail in the cadence. And once that comes to fruition, you're going to see the accuracy and you're not going to see the check down. So speaking of Sam Darnold, in my opinion, there's a very clear reason that guys like Kyle Shanahan and Kevin O'Connell like and adore this dude and sign this dude. So I heard this report. This is also from Kevin Seifert back in May. The Vikings don't view Darnold simply as someone they can play if McCarthy isn't ready for week 1. It's more accurate to understand him as a player the Vikings believe they can compete with as McCarthy moves through an organized developmental plan that prioritizes his long-term future. Does that mean the Vikings have not ruled out McCarthy as their week 1 starter? Of course not, but they want his ascension to be organic rather than based on his own aptitude and readiness. Oh my goodness, that didn't make much sense, but you get my point here. Sam Darnold is much more than just a backup quarterback just in case JJ McCarthy doesn't work out. Sam Darnold in his entire NFL career, specifically when he got drafted, it was just the wrong place at the wrong time, right? We know at this point in our NFL, covering journey that where you land matters, who's on your team matters, who your coach is matters, and Sam Darnold, to be honest with you, got the short end of the stick. So I'm not saying Sam Darnold is going to be the starting quarterback for Minnesota for the entire year and long term, but even if he is the starter for the entire 2024 season, I don't think that affects my opinion personally on my view of the Minnesota Vikings. So moving on towards OTAs and minicamp, they're wrapped up. We won't hear too much until training camp in July. But apparently I got all this info from Vikings Wire. So here was the headliner. Wide receiver 3 is still up in the air. So Jalen Nailor was expected to take over KJ Osborne's role after his departure in free agency, but he's missed all the summer work thus far in the position and role remain up in the air. This is due to an illness that he was forced to miss all of mandatory minicamp. Brandon Powell and Jalen Nailor, you got guys like Trent Sherfield, Tristan Jackson, Wide receiver 3 is certainly something interesting to me. I always viewed KJ Osborne as relatively underrated. I did have him a little bit in fantasy football once. Justin Jefferson, my wide receiver 1, got injured. He was, reliable for a wide receiver 3. I hope Jalen Naylor is ready for a wide receiver 3 role. I hope Brandon Powell is ready for a wide receiver 3 role. I don't feel all that great, but the good news is your wide receiver 1 is Justin Jefferson, who just got paid a huge bag, and that's going to help out not only JJ McCarthy, but that'll also help out Sam Darnold. It's going to help out whoever your starting quarterback is in week 1. Justin Jefferson's going to get double teamed, but he's also your playmaker. And Kevin O'Connell, much like all the great offensive coordinators out there, offensive minded coaches, they find ways to get their playmaker the football. So once again, whether it's Sam Darnold or JJ McCarthy, yes, Justin Jefferson's going to get double teamed, and that's actually going to help you out because it's going to open up the rest of the field for guys like Jordan Addison, AJ Jones, even Ty Chandler, TJ Hawkinson, your wide receiver number 3, all the other wide receivers. But keep in mind, just because teams are probably going to scheme against Justin Jefferson, that doesn't mean Kevin O'Connell is not going to find ways to get him the football. All right. So wide receivers 3 coming from me is certainly something I'm going to be keeping an eye on once we get into training camp. Another headliner, the signing of Dalton Risner has made things complicated. So reports have been that Blake Brandel was set to take over the starting left guard spot. He signed an extension this past offseason, but after taking their time, the team also brought back last year's starter, Dalton Risner. Fortune favors the young player, but the competition could be good for both men. For now, though, the signing is complicated and there are muddies and water at the left guard position. Folks, this is a great problem to have. One thing a lot of people don't understand about Minnesota, probably because of the Kirk Cousins injury, once again, most NFL media people forgot about Minnesota the second Kirk Cousins got injured, and then you had Josh Downs for like a week or two, and that was fun, and they were catching headlines. But for the most part, the Minnesota Vikings offensive line is perfectly set for me. I love their tackles, and left guard competition is good. Final note from Vikings Wire, the pass rush of the Vikings is going to lead the defense. If you're a Vikings fan, this is unbelievable because you signed Jonathan Greenard, you drafted Dallas Turner, and apparently those two have been meshing well through camp and have shown to be physical freak athletes at the position. Them and Brian Flores' aggressive defense could be fun to watch regardless of wins or losses this coming year. So yeah, you lost guys like Danielle Hunter, but you picked up Jonathan Greenard. You picked up Blake Cashman, Andrew Van Ginkel. You got Cam Bynum coming back fully healthy. You drafted Dallas Turner. The Minnesota Vikings defense last year, even statistically, was pretty solid. In fact, it was above average. Maybe in the first couple of weeks, the first month or two, they struggled defensively, got a brand new defensive coordinator coming in. But the Minnesota Vikings defense, like at worst, are a middle of the pack defense. At worst, middle of the pack. So that's it for today. If you guys enjoyed it, be sure to hit that like button, hit that sub button for daily NFL content. As always, we'll see you next time. But let me know, who are you most excited about for the Minnesota Vikings this upcoming year? Let me know down below. Peace.